So we drew a vertical line and another parallel vertical line to draw the opening for the doorway. So we just drew the opening, okay, and then we drew a frame around it. But now, since this is on the side, we can see actually the side edge of this door molding. So we drew an additional line right here. I'm going to point to it. We drew this piece right here to show how thick the molding is, okay? And at the top, I want you to draw that little 45-degree line here, like you did with the molding around the windows. So just connect the inside corner to the outside corner, okay? And if you want to continue that line, you can just go a little bit further back. Why? Because that piece of wood is three-dimensional too. And now it looks like you're kind of stepping out into a hallway or a closet. So I drew another horizontal line just a little bit up from that line, okay? And that also shows that the wall is maybe like pushed further back, okay? And that's what I just drew right here. Right here, that wall right there. So now it looks like we could step out into the hallway, right? There's one thing that's really kind of strange, which is up here. And because we didn't finish drawing this, from the inside corner of the doorway, I want you to draw a line that's straight across. That's a horizontal line there too. And you erase that little triangle here, right above that line that you'll end up with, okay? So we have this. Now, the top of the doorway, or the inside of the top of the doorway, is above the horizon line, which means that we have to look up. When we look up, remember when we were drawing the cubes that were like floating in the air for our 1-point perspective and our 2 and our 3? We should be able to see up and the underside of that door frame. So what I want you to do is from the end of that horizontal line, I want you to use the vanishing point and your straight edge and draw the underside of that door frame. Okay? You might be like, what? What did you just do? Let me show you. We just drew this right here. This space right here. So from right here, this corner, we went straight across, and then we used the vanishing point to create that angled line that goes like this. Okay? Now that doorway looks three-dimensional, right? It's got a thickness, it's got the inside thickness, the thickness of the molding itself. The wall, if we drew this line and we drew it further back, that would push this wall on the inside of this hallway even further back to make it look like it's a more spacious hallway out there. So you can play around with that. If you don't want to put your line right there, you could put it right here and see what that looks like. And once you do that, it starts looking like there's another room in there. It's not just a hallway. It's like a bigger room on the other side of this door. Maybe. I guess it just depends on how it's built up on that side. Also, we should be able to see up and underneath this piece as well. So from this inside corner here, I'm going to draw a line straight across that's horizontal like that. And you're only going to see a little sliver. Let me show you what I mean. So from this line right here, right where that ended, I drew a horizontal line. It's a very short one that goes straight across. And then across that little inside piece. And then from there, I use vanishing point 1 to draw up like the underside of the windowsill right here. So we're kind of looking, you know, up at the underside of this slat of wood, okay? And we also see this side as well as the corresponding side on this side. So it looks more three-dimensional because you have a rectangular wall, right? There's a certain shape to this space, right? If you had a more square back wall, this is what it would look like. Here is period 8's drawing. You see how their back wall is more of a square shape? So then the space on the inside of the room matches. It's more of a square space inside there. It's like the inside of a cube. Whereas over here, it's kind of like the inside of a box, like a rectangular prism. Okay, so I showed you the formula for finding the center of a rectangle, didn't I, yesterday? Right? And that's how we were able to draw this crossbar. If I didn't, I'm going to show you that today so that we can locate this little crossbar in the middle of the window, exactly in the middle, okay? But I can see right now this window has a little problem. It looks very flat right here because we should be able to look up and see the underside of this crossbar. So right here at this corner, right over here, underneath the second line for the crossbar, I'm going to draw a horizontal line straight across, and it's really going to be small. So it's going to be hard to see. So this is really, really detailed work. You would have to take a really well lit picture for me to see your work. So what I did was I drew this surface right over here. This little line right over here. This line here, and so that there is another side. Here's one side and here's the underside. So I drew the underside. If it helps, I'm going to just shade it for you. I just drew this part right here. Okay. So now that piece looks three-dimensional. So everything has to be three-dimensional, right? If you want to draw realistically. So this is a little trick that we can do to find the center of this box right here, or of this rectangle. Anything that's four-sided, that's like a box, you can just draw a line from the corner, the inside of the box. So let's just do that. You could use the outside, same thing. And where the two lines cross will be the center of the box. Okay, let's do the same thing for this box here. Crisscross. Okay. All right. So now this is exactly the center where the two lines cross. So let's draw a line through those two centers and draw that little cross piece that separates the two glass panes of the window. So we have the two windows with the crossbars. We have this window. Now I'm going to show you how to do the floor. So I'm going to turn my ruler around, maybe use centimeters because that seems to be a nice small measurement. Mark off every centimeter. You know, wooden floors come in all widths now. They're not always the standard, you know, skinny plank of wood. They have extra wide planks of wood. These boards are going to, they're going to go toward the vanishing point. Okay. So we're going to draw toward the vanishing point. Okay, right where the tick marks end, I'm going to draw toward the vanishing point. And what you notice about when you're drawing the wooden floors is, because we're using vanishing point lines, the space is wider in the front. And as you go toward the back wall, the space gets narrower. And that's what gives you the impression of this floorboard kind of going away from you and going away into space. I'm going to draw one more floorboard right over here. Like that. Okay. So it doesn't have to look perfect. This is just a practice. So I want you to try to draw these floorboards here. And then you'll notice as you know, we have the horizon line right here going from left to right, correct? But there's also a line that goes from north to south. Let's imagine that there's a line that goes. When you get closer to this north-south line right over here, the floorboards are going to become more vertical in shape, and I mean in angle. So the line's going to slowly change and shift and become more of a vertical, straight up and down type of line as you go toward the center of your page. It's kind of an interesting thing, but that has to do with your perspective, where you're standing. Let's say you're in the middle of the room. So that point of view is right there. This is your point of view right here. Vanishing point, that's your point of view. Okay? So the floorboards are a cool effect. If you put a wooden floor, it really emphasizes that this is a three-dimensional space because of the way that the floorboards are getting narrower as they go back toward the vanishing point. So let's take a little bit of time to draw these floorboards, okay? Wow, look at that. My eyes are really going back there, right? Nice wood, let's say it's a nice oak floor. That's really common wood that they used to use in the olden days when they built a lot of houses in Philadelphia, because oak lasts forever. It's as tough as nails. So if you want to make a nice even looking floor like this, what you need to do is to mark it off at regular intervals. So now I'm going to line up my ruler or my straight edge with the vanishing point and the tick marks at the bottom of the paper. And I'm going to go and draw the individual planks of wood. I drew, you know, here, but I'm going to erase that because I shouldn't have any lines on my back wall. If you want to continue, you could just kind of do this and make it up. Just do the best you can. Extend the wooden floor into your closet. Okay? Just do it kind of freehand, space it out. Because, you know, you can't mark, you know, put your marks anymore unless you want to draw outside of your paper. Doesn't have to be perfect. You just want the look of a wooden floor. Okay? So now we have that wooden floor, you know, continuing into this closet space, which moves our eye in there. And that's a nice little, you know, way of having your eye kind of explore that part of your drawing, is to have those lines leading them in. How about a doorway over here on this side? Because we need to, go get out of this room. Or you could say, if you don't want to draw a door, the door is behind you. The door is behind you. Or you could say, well, I want to draw a closet. I want to draw a closet so I could show my shoes and my clothes, and that that's my closet. Or you could draw a bathroom, a doorway into another space, and say, well, I want this room to have its own personal bathroom attached to it that no one else uses except for me. Then you could do that too. So let's keep the spacing very similar from the ceiling to the top of the doorway. Very similar to the windows, okay? So I'm going to use my vanishing point and my straight edge and kind of set up that space. And let's say my doorway is somewhere around here, okay? Right there. That's about the same amount of space between the corner of the ceiling here, or the edge of the ceiling here, and the top of this window. So let's keep a similar type of dimension. The difference here between a door and a window is that it goes all the way down to the floor, of course, right? Okay, Anaya. So, I want to draw the other side of the doorway. Okay, like that. Okay, that's my doorway. That's pretty big, but it's a doorway. People have to pass through that doorway. But the doorway is also going to be framed, just like the windows. Because if you look at the doors in your house, they're not just, they're not just like cut out of the wall. There's framing, there's the door itself, there's this inside kind of wooden piece. A door is a real complicated thing too. So whenever you have to install a door, it's not an easy thing. If anyone has installed a door, if your mom or your dad DIYs it and they install a new door, replaces the door, it can be actually quite complicated and expensive. So the same thing here with the doors. I'm going to use my vanishing point and I'm going to draw a very similar molding like on this window. We're going to put that on the door as well. Okay. This side of the molding is going to look a little bit thicker because it's closer to us. This side of the door here. This side is not as close, so it's going to have to look skinnier and thinner. So let's make it as skinny as this side of the window here. Like that. Okay, so I'm gonna let you guys catch up to this and do the floor, okay? And then those of you who are already here, I want you to do this. From the top right here of this corner, draw a line straight across, real short line that's horizontal, and then you're going to show how thick that molding is. Just make that look three-dimensional. Okay, so the door, the material for the door is going to be in front of the wall. So look over here. See that line? That line, how it goes past the line for this line for the floor? It should be in front of that line. So it would be good to extend those down like I did right here, so that the molding looks like it's attached to the wall and kind of like that. Let me show you. So it looks like it's three-dimensional like that, right there. It goes a little further down than this line right here where the wall meets the floor. these lines here extend down past that line, past this line, and we draw a vanishing point line here for the face or the front of that piece of molding, and a horizontal line going straight back to this line over here to draw the side of the molding. Okay, so that looks like more like a three-dimensional piece of wood. And you can use this line, just continue it to do this side of the doorway too. Okay, like this. Since you're laying this piece of molding on top of this wall here, you know, it's going to stick out basically. That's what I'm saying here. It's sticking out. And then a little horizontal line going back. And then we're going to show the inside edge of this door. Okay? Something like that. Like that. Should you see the up and underneath this door jamb, this door frame up here, yes, you should also see that. So from the inside corner, cut across with a horizontal line, use a vanishing point line, and draw the underside of the top of the molding piece up here. So I'll show you that close up. Right here, that's supposed to be a line that's horizontal. Go straight, and then it's just a tiny little straight line, and then this is a vanishing point line here, like that, to draw the thickness of the top piece of molding here. And then at the corners, you want to draw that little 45-degree angle, like that. Like that, like that. You don't have to do it to the bottom of the doorway, but you do have to do it to the top. If you want to make your closet closed, it's easy now, right? Because all you have to, if your closet's closed, actually, you wouldn't have to draw this edge or this edge, because the door would be covering those edges up. But if your closet is open, right, and you want this to look like, there's a space in there, from the inside over here, all you have to do is draw a horizontal line. Boom. That's all you have to do, and now it looks like you can walk into that. That could be a hallway or it could be a closet, right? If you want to put wooden floors out there too, then just continue drawing. You don't have to mark it off. You could just imagine, use your imagination a little bit, and just draw your wooden floor continuing inside your closet. Right? So that it gives the illusion that there's a floor in there. Like that. So now look at that. Now you have a wooden floor inside the closet. So I want us to kind of get here to this place right over here. So let's do that. That we drew a point at the corner of every corner of the rectangle, and we use vanishing point 1 now. Line up the kind of top part of our ruler with vanishing point 1 and a point at one of the corners of the rectangle to draw these 4 lines. Okay. What you don't want to do is to draw from this point to the corner of the paper, because you can see how the lines, if you line them up with vanishing point 1, those corner points, how the lines do not go to the corner of the paper, because this rectangle is not the same proportion as the rectangle of the paper. It's a different shape, right? want this room to match the shape of that back wall, to have the correct dimensions that match this back wall. So you must use vanishing point 1, and each of these corner points